4 Pure Bermondsey Helles.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. This is the 4 Pure Bermondsey Helles, which I picked up from Lidl today. Now, I don't normally review craft beer, and 4 Pure are a craft brewer. They've been going since 2013, but I've decided to review this because I'm still on a quest for an outstanding English lager. I'm bitterly disappointed at the offerings that we have. The macro stuff, well, you know, that's fucking useless. That's rubbish, in my opinion. The other stuff that the craft brewers are doing so far that I've tasted, Utopian are one of the better ones, but there's a lot of, in my opinion, below par lagers. Now, they're obviously good at doing their own IPAs and pale ales. They just throw a load of American hops in there. But there is, I think, a big gap between what we're brewing over here and, to be honest, all the other countries. I'm sure there's decent Belgian Pilsners out there that put to shame some of our stuff. Even the Stella Artois that's brewed out in Belgium is better than what we've got over here, sadly. So, yeah, we're on a bit of a back foot when it comes to lager. So I don't really hold up much hope for this. I'm hoping that this is just a rebadged Helles or lager that they've done, and they say brewed exclusively for Lidl. Now, I know, and I do rant a little bit about the cost of living in this country and the extortionate amount of rates and utility bills that companies have to pay. So I'm wondering whether corners have been cut on this one. I really don't know. So I'm just going to try this on the off chance that it's half decent. Now, they're from Bermondsey, which is in South London. Yeah, that's Millwall country. And that is not, as a West Ham fan, that is not my favourite part of the world. However, there are some good boozers there. If you want good German beer, you've got the Katzenjammer, which is a German bar. But fuck me, it is expensive. And there's a little bar just down the road, just near Borough Market. They do some decent beers in there as well, but again, it is fucking expensive. I had a mate come over and he had a pint of Camden Hells and it was over £7. And I just think, well, I don't know how these pubs carry on. I think they're probably just making it because of the tourist trade, but fuck me, it is expensive out there. And if you're on a bit of a budget, do not go there. Now, this stuff is not cheap. Well, I say this stuff. This is slightly cheaper because it's come from Lidl's, but their core range lagers, they do a 40-day lager, which means it's been lagered for 40 days, and that is £4.50 for a 330ml can. That is fucking unsustainable, my friends. People are not going to pay that for a lager. Now, they are part of what they call the Bermondsey Mile. If you've ever heard of that, it's basically a mile of craft brewers dotted about in Bermondsey. I've not done it before. We were going to do it at one point, and the lockdown happened, and I just haven't been bothered since, to be honest. But maybe one day I'll see what they've got. But so far, I'm not impressed. I have seen that Budvar are over in the UK. I think they're in Clerkenwell at the moment. I'd love to go down there and not rant at them, but ask them why the fuck they keep putting their lagers into green bottles. But hey ho, I will spare them. Anyway, let's stop gassing and let's get this beer checked out. Right, there's no brew sheet on here. They don't tell you what's in here. It just says our lager is super drinkable, crisp and refreshing with a hoppy punch. A hoppy punch. That worries me because a lot of these craft brewers are using American hops in lager, and to be honest, fucking stop it. It's not the done thing. It really isn't. I don't care what you're trying to do. Just stop putting American hops in lager because it makes it taste not like lager. Oh, stop fucking ranting. What else does it say? Based in Bermondsey. 4 Pure has been brewing easy drinking flavoured beer since 2013, crafted in London. I should be gushing about this being a Londoner, but I don't know, the cynic in me really doesn't hold up much. What does it say? It's 4%, it's a 330ml can. Units, 1.4. Hurrah! I'll be drinking 1.4 units. I'll tell the doc that I drank 1.4 units. I'm sure he'll be fucking impressed that I know what a fucking unit is. Anyway, there you go, there's the can. This is available in Lidl's if you're interested. I can't remember how much it was, but it'll be cheaper than £4 fucking 50 if it's coming from Lidl's. Anyway, let's get it home. Let's see what's going on. Right, again, as I say, I'm not holding up much hope for this, but we will give it a go. I'm not really a craft brew enthusiast, to be honest. Well, I'm not an enthusiast. I think there's just too many other brewers, too many other reviewers reviewing craft brewed beer. Now that to me looks like a typical craft brewed Helles or lager. It's very, very light, not much colour, slight haze to it. Nice head, I will say that. It's got a nice tightly packed white head on the nose. Wow. I'll take it back what I said about the hops. This is very lemony. Now I wonder if it's got that earthy note that all southern lager has, and I'm sure that's coming from the water, because with London tap water, which is basically what they'll be using, it would need to be purified because it is very, very hard, and you do not want hard water in lager. It just does not go. Hence the reason most of the best beer in Germany comes from Bavaria, where it comes from natural springs in Bavaria. But this stuff, oh. Now that sulphur has gone, there's a lemon, citrus and an earthy note. No hint of the malt character in that at all. There's a very, very slight honey sweetness to it, but it's very, very vague. Yeah, not really holding up much hope from the aroma. Let's try it. Let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. Yeah, again, there's that musty, earthy note that I don't know where that's coming from, but possibly the water. But it's typical of a craft brewed lager. Now, again, this, as I say, this has been specially brewed for Lidl's, and the optimist in me is hoping that this is a rebadged beer, but I have to say I am not that impressed. It's better than a macro, I'll say that now. It is better than a macro, and in my opinion it doesn't compare to any of the German stuff. They've called it a Helles. Well, you know, read into that what you will, but it's just typical of what we're brewing in this country, what craft brewers, and I'm not saying that as a slight, and I don't want to put them down, because, well, you know, with my, what is it now, 1,500 subscribers or something like that, or maybe a little bit more, I'm not going to break this lot, and I'm sure that their IPAs and pale ales are what people want to drink. It's not my kind of thing. I'm not going to review any of their beers, like the American stuff on the channel. There's no point. This lager, put it this way, it's not a fantastic lager, but it's half making me want to try that 40-day lager now to see if that's any better, because they do, if they're saying, you know, making a big thing about it, I don't know how long this has been lagered for. Maybe that's what that earthy and musty note is from, where it hasn't been lagered long enough, because that is a trait. Some of the German stuff is lagered for at least a month, maybe even 2 months, sometimes even 3 months, and they use the Krausen in brew technique as well, where they remove some of the wort and then they put it back in afterwards, and it's supposed to intensify the flavour, etc. I'd say it's passable as a craft lager. Yes, it's better than the macros. In terms of nasties, there's some slightly dodgy aromas coming from it, but the flavour is acceptable, in my opinion. If I was on a night out and it was a choice between this and their American pale ales or IPAs, then I would probably go for this. But you know what? I would probably, after a few pints, think, I'm fucking struggling with this. It's just, I don't know, it's just, it just lacks the class of the German stuff. It really does. Now, again, I don't want to disparage craft brewers, because, you know, I appreciate what they're doing, and they have given the beer industry a kick up the arse, which is good. But when it comes to lager, I just think we're lacking, and it's not just the craft brewers as well, it's the big brewers too. Inoffensive, that big hot punch that they're talking about, that's not really there, to be honest. There is a slight malty character, slightly bready type malt in there, but finish, it just doesn't compare to the German stuff, I'm afraid. So again, another disappointment for me. So what's the verdict on 4 Pure Helles? Well, for me, this is typical of what the craft brewers do, and I'd love to know why they all have that similar kind of taste. It's like a slightly musty taste. You don't get that on the German stuff, and I'm beginning to think it's either the water or it's the length of time these beers are lagered, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was a combination of both, because I see where craft brewers are coming from. To lager stuff that long, you have to have quite a big amount of space, and I imagine most craft brewers are limited in the amount of space that they have, and they certainly couldn't leave batches of beer lying around for 2 or 3 months and then put them out. So again, this is why I'm thinking, this is why maybe even bigger brewers as well don't have that capacity to leave beer hanging about that long. You know, they've got, I imagine, storage facilities for batches of beer, but to leave just one batch of beer in a specific area for 3 months just lagering, that's a big ask. Now, I know I was looking at the Lord's Brewing live stream a few weeks ago, and they visited another brewery, and for the life of me I can't remember what it was, but they're brewing a Pilsner, and it looked very, very promising indeed, and they lagered it for 3 months. So again, that's why I think some of these smaller craft brewers, they just can't do lager, because they just don't have the space, and they're also fighting a losing, well, I wouldn't say a losing battle, but they're fighting a battle with British water, which is, at the best of times, it's got seasoning in it, if you know what I mean. When I say seasoning, I mean mineral elements that the pure spring water that the Germans use doesn't have. So again, it comes back to my theory that you need the purest of water to brew decent lager. But there you go. What mark am I going to give it? Well, I will say it's drinkable. It's not a chuck down a sink job. Their other stuff, if I was reviewing some of the other stuff at £4.50 a can, that would get a very low mark, because £4.50 for 330ml, quite frankly, is taking the fucking piss. Yes, I know you've got overheads. Yes, I know you're in London. It's the most expensive part of the UK, and real estate is very expensive. Business rates are high. Utility bills are high. Yes, I get that. But I'm a consumer. If I'm going to be paying £4.50 for 330ml of lager, I want it to be the best lager. I wouldn't say that I've ever tasted, but I want it to be comparable to some of the top Bavarian stuff, and sadly I don't think it is. So this isn't £4.50, so I'm not directing that rant at this beer. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to just give this a 5 out of 10, and would I recommend it? If you're in Lidl's and you see it, and Well, I don't know, because it's 330ml. Are you gonna want to do that when there's other stuff? There's, you know, they do Franciscana for £1.80 in there, and I know it's not a lager, but it's a good lager. They do that Perlenbacher, but don't bother with that, to be honest. That's brewed in France, and you know what I think of French beer. I don't care if they give it a German name. French brewers cannot brew fucking beer. Just stop it. Carry on with your wine. Anyway, rant over. So yeah, I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10. I'm a little bit doing it through gritted teeth because, you know, it's a London beer, and I'm from London, and I should be repping all the London brewers, but I just can't do it with this, unfortunately, because it's a lager. It just doesn't hold up, unfortunately. So yeah, 5 out of 10. If you're in Lidl's and you fancy a try, but don't go mental. Don't go buying loads, because it's just average. It's better than the macro stuff, I'll give you that. Yes, it is, definitely. It's brewed with a little bit more care, in my opinion, but my quest for a decent English lager continues. And remember, beer is working class champagne.